Okay, we're ready to go.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Well, afternoon. Thank you for joining us at our very first meeting of the Homeless Task Force Subcommittee, the Augusta Commission's task force to address and end chronic homelessness in the city of Augusta. I believe I'm receiving a little feedback. Let's see if we can. Okay. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get the meeting going. I'm Jordan Johnson. I have the pleasure of serving as a co-chair of this task force, along with my colleague on the Augusta Commission, Commissioner Dennis Williams. We are excited about the opportunity to address this issue, certainly an issue that has been in existence before us, but we have an opportunity to address it in a 21st century way. And I look forward to having that conversation with everyone today. So I'll pass over to Commissioner Williams to introduce himself, and then we will pass it down to our mayor for quick remarks. So Commissioner Williams.
Oh, there we go. Good afternoon. I'm Dennis Williams, Commissioner of District 2 and co-chairman of this task force. And I appreciate everybody taking the time out today to join us.
All righty, let's receive greetings from our mayor, Mayor Hardy Davis.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. I want to begin by thanking both Commissioner Jordan Johnson and Commissioner Dennis Williams for their leadership on this task force, and more importantly, the Augusta Commission for their willingness to stand up a task force to engage on this extremely concerning and critical issue in our community. As city leaders, but also stakeholders, it is incumbent upon us to take a moment, and I think this creates a unique opportunity for us to do that, to develop policies that help those who are most in need in our community, and quite frankly, are those who are most vulnerable in our community at a time like this, as we're dealing with this global pandemic. In order for us to effectively address the issue of homelessness in our city, it will require great collaboration. We'll have to collaborate in ways that we perhaps have not done before as a city. While I'm not a member of this task force, I do appreciate this opportunity to offer my thoughts on how we might address homelessness in Augusta by submitting a memo to the task force. And we will do that through the two co-chairs, Commissioner Johnson and Commissioner Dennis Williams. This memo focuses on affordable housing, workforce development, blight mitigation, and homelessness at the point of entry. Research for this memo included reviewing several white papers on how cities are already addressing the issue of homelessness at the point of entry, and many conversations with cities across the country on how they've worked to address homelessness within their localities. The key component missing from this research is a conversation with the people at this table. And that's those of you who are our key stakeholders and partners in the challenge of addressing homelessness in our community. You guys are the ones who have been boots on the ground in our community. You've done the hard work, you've done the heavy lifting, and you continue to do that even in the midst of this global pandemic, oftentimes with very little resources and or support. And again, you're to be applauded for that. In this memo, the first component of that memo outlines an idea for a low barrier, one-stop center located along a transit line that would provide job services, mail services, healthcare services, and other resources such as childcare, storage, and transportation assistance for those who are most needed and vulnerable. The second component of that memo to our co-chairs speaks to the issue of blight mitigation and how properly addressing blight can help in developing affordable housing, create job training opportunities, and help low-income homeowners. The third component of the memo speaks to the issue of affordable housing. We've had much conversation about that, and this is a unique time in our city's history that we can address that. I think many would agree that affordable housing is a large part of lifting people out of homelessness. And this section specifically contains ideas around accessory dwelling units, mixed income communities, and incentives for developing affordable housing. The fourth component and final component of the memo speaks specifically to the issues of workforce development, and is covered through the other three components. And in the memo, it is highlighted in green. Some ideas for this include incentives for achieving hiring goals on city projects, home repair assistance for low-income residents with services provided by apprentices, to include our most recent Construction Ready program that's being launched on 10 May in Augusta, Georgia, and also a program that would train at-risk youth in landscaping. It's my hope to our co-chairs and to the partners and stakeholders who are here today that this memo will prove helpful to the task force and provide some food for thought for broader community conversation and discussion on how we can all work together to address the issues of homelessness in our city. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Co-Chair Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor Davis. And certainly your comments are in order and are timely for the conversation that we plan to have today. So thank you for that addition to our meeting. Today's meeting would just simply consist of us introducing each other just to get an idea of who is on the ground working to solve our homeless issue, whether that's from a perspective of resources, housing, so forth and so on. But before we get to that point, Commissioner Williams and I wanted to just make sure that we had an understanding, or that we communicated the purpose of this task force. And we sort of alluded to that in a few media interviews, and on the commission floor, we spoke on how I think we all will agree that there is a substantial amount of work that needs to be done where homelessness is concerned in Richmond County. Although we've come far, we still have farther to go. And that's the sense of this task force. That's the purpose of us coming together to identify how we can work together to present a valid plan to the commission to end chronic homelessness in Richmond County. So we have to do a few things. We have to define what homelessness means. We have to define our stance on homelessness in Richmond County. We have to determine the factors that contribute to homelessness. We have to determine our guiding principles. You know, what principles are we going to hold dear while discussing this homeless issue? For me, that will look something along the lines of making sure that homelessness is rare and that it is temporary. So there are so many different ideas that we have at our disposal today to discuss ahead of further meetings where homelessness is concerned. So I'll pause there and yield to Commissioner Williams to speak a little bit about the purpose of this task force as well, give his insight. And then once we move from there, we'll go ahead and start introducing each other, and we'll tell what all of our roles are where homelessness is concerned in Richmond County. So Commissioner Williams.
Thank you. Well, one of the things that we have been talking about is the mayor kind of brought up in his remarks as a long-term goal or objective is to look at or to try to establish a centralized area or location that we can deal with the homeless in one particular area versus having to have them go all over town for this service or that service. And we looked at some of the problems that you could see that they have. One thing is about mailboxes. Well, we want to look at the possibility of providing a mailbox for the homeless. So if you're homeless and you're out there looking for employment or some type of benefits and don't have an address, that would prevent an individual from receiving whatever assistance they had. So that would be a good thing. And then also try to come up with an area that we can store their baggage. Because during the day, you see people walking throughout the city, pulling suitcases and the 2 and 3 backpacks and things like that. So we can establish a place that we can store these items for these individuals, which would give them a little freedom throughout the day. Also, we wanted to look at maybe establishing a work program for the homeless. Those individuals, well, we can provide them with shelter and food, and then a little work, and they can help the city employees keep our community clean at a minimum rate. But it's just one of those things that we want to look at, and then it also give them some type of activity for throughout the day, because when they have to leave the shelters, they don't have anywhere to go, so they're basically congregate in certain areas throughout the city. But if we had some type of work program to give them a few dollars in their pocket and helping our labor force in the city, that may be beneficial also. And then we can also agencies that provide services for veterans. If we can get them all in the same area, we should be able to provide a much better service for the individual and help that individual be aware of all the agencies that's around. So basically, that's what we were talking about, how we, and first of all, we need to establish if there's a need for any additional beds in the Augusta area regarding the homeless. So if, let's say now our projection is, or our average is 50 beds a night, and but we've been turning away 50 people, then we could look at the possibility of increasing the availability of beds. So it's just one of the things that we would like to break up these subject matters in different small groups that they can be addressed and then come back and discuss as a full body to determine how important the need is, what kind of financial obligation that the need would generate, and if it would be a beneficial service for our community. So that's kind of how we're going from here. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Commissioner. All righty. Well, we've gotten to the point now to where it's time to do a little a few introductions. Let's take this opportunity to introduce ourselves, tell the organization that you're representing, tell what you all do where homelessness is concerned, and this is also your opportunity to just share your piece, share whatever information you think is necessary, and to steal a term from our mayor, that is germane to the conversation. And we will definitely go from there. Before we call on our first partner, I want to reiterate that this task force does not seek to reinvent the wheel. This task force seeks to improve upon its capabilities and to provide support where we can provide support. So with that being said, we are really happy to partner with our sheriff's office to complement the efforts that they're already have in place. So at this point, I'd like to turn over to Chief Clayton to introduce himself and share a little bit about the efforts that the sheriff's office is making around homelessness, and we'll go from there. So Chief Clayton. You're muted, sir.
Sorry about that. We talked to the commission before about some of the efforts we've been making with the homeless initiative. But I think it's been operating right around about 2 years. And it's comprised of a lot of the agencies that are here today, as well as a lot of other nonprofits like United Way's here today, Salvation Army, Gold Cross, the Sheriff's Office, the Marshal's Office, the Augusta University Police, the Augusta University educational departments are involved, Bridge Ministries, a bunch of different agencies and nonprofits, and actually activists and business people that have been involved for the last couple of years. And we've been, and the very last meeting we had is Tamika Allen, who's on the task force with us. She actually organized some working groups, but we already were working on these issues, but we've actually broken it down. We have working groups on the panhandling issue, the mental health, housing, and also fundraising. And so these are some of the issues that we deal with. We've also had to deal with issues where, for example, we got contacted by the Department of Transportation and said, hey, you know, we had I-85 burnt down by some homeless people. And so we're not going to be able to allow them to reside up under the bridges. So we've had to move these people out. We did it in a, you know, kind of a humane fashion, and gave them plenty of notice, and, you know, moved them out. And we also have went out there with the health department and other mental health agencies to try to provide a lot of the homeless different services they don't get every day. And these are all the kind of things we're dealing with. We're also have been investigating the housing situation. I will tell you, I won't go in depth on it today because we don't have enough time, but one of the best programs that we've seen so far is in Columbus, Georgia. They have a very robust program that kind of, it's one aspect of it is they call it moving into work, and they kind of meet the homeless people where they're at and then transition them eventually into some, you know, where they can actually pay for housing and be self-sufficient is the goal. And they've been very successful. They actually have about 75 vouchers through the housing authority, and they only use about 50 of them. And so I think it's really worth us looking real closely at that. And on behalf of the Homeless Initiative, we're glad to join forces with you know, this county task force, and we think the more the merrier.
Thank you, Chief. And I will also say, at any point if there are any questions, just throw your finger up and we will try our best to acknowledge you if you have any questions for anyone who's doing introductions. But we're going to try to get through the introductions first and then open the floor up. So with that being said, let's move on to our next partner, Ms. Venus Kane, Richmond County School Board member. Venus Kane. You're muted, Ms. Kane. I think we're all
I'm sorry.
zoomed out at this
Okay,
point.
there we are. I usually use team. I'm Venus Kane. I'm on the Richmond County School Board District. I represent District 9. I was asked to provide some information, and I didn't, well, more or less to be in the group. And first, I want to say how grateful I am. But I was able to get some statistics because I didn't want to come in here with nothing at all. And I needed to know just how many kids we had that was homeless. And currently right now, as of, this was, I think, Monday, we had 580 kids that are either homeless, considered homeless, or doubled up. And when they say double up, they mean living with another family member. And then my next question became, why? What got them to this point? Do we know? And we were able to say 6 were abandoned. They were asked, families were asked to leave the residence. 17 of them were violence or protected order. 337 economic hardship. 89 evictions. 67 family issues. 46 to fire. Loss of employment 8. Incarceration 8. And 3, they had no reason for homelessness could be determined. I'm told that number changes daily, and that number is probably higher because we had some more in the pipeline that had not been categorized yet or processed. So I'm here to offer whatever assistance I can help, because homelessness does affect a child's learning ability, and whatever we can do to get this under control will be greatly appreciated, and anything that we can do to help.
Thank you, Ms. Kane. I'm going to go to Commissioner Clark.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. I think it's awfully important. I don't mean to interrupt it, but I think it would be awfully important if you could get Ms. Kane's figures on what she just stated to each member of the commission. I think that's a very important number that we should focus on, that we need to move forward with in a very rapid way.
Ms. Kane, are you able to email that information over to myself and Commissioner Williams so we can shoot it out to the commission, or over to Ms. Bonner to do that? Are we able to
Yes,
share that information?
I can pass that out. Let me double check and make sure I can do that. And if I get permission to, yes, I will send that information to you.
Thank you
I
very
think
much.
it's important to have.
Thank you. So do I. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kane.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All righty. A very important piece of the puzzle are the hardworking activists and folks in the community who, wish to serve our homeless through food drives and clothing giveaways. Danielle Ringo represents that type of action from a community perspective. So I'd like to acknowledge Ms. Ringo for introduction.
Yes, thank you. As Commissioner Johnson said, I could be considered an activist here in Augusta. I volunteer with a couple of different nonprofits that reach out to our vulnerable population, specifically homeless population. I've reached out to our commissioner several times talking about the homeless issues that we have in Augusta and ways that we can pull together and prevent this issue that we're facing from getting worse. So I really appreciate being asked on for this, and I'm excited to see what this task force can accomplish. Thank you.
All righty, I'm going to try this one. Jill Kozlowinski. Did I do right? I see you laughing, so I must have did it wrong. Live on YouTube.
Okay, you were so close.
Oh, good.
No, yes, you're good. So it's Kozlowski, but myself and Kimberly are co-presidents for Project Refresh. So first of all, thank you for having us. We are, I think, probably the newest members to the team because we only started our nonprofit in July of 2020. And our mission is to provide mobile showers to the homeless that are living on the streets. We have done a lot of research and found that this is something that happens in a lot of major cities across the country, but it's not happening here. And so that basic need for hygiene is just something that we really felt that was a piece of the puzzle that was missing. So we've started this project. We are in the fundraising stages of it. And then as soon as we can raise the money, we'll purchase a trailer, and then we will have that to offer showers. And so I'm sure there might be questions about that, but in a nutshell, that's kind of what we do.
And our broader vision too is to kind of connect with other organizations like are present here to be able to park our unit and to be able to provide other services, to be able to connect people better to become registered or to do different things to provide, connect to what you all have spoken about, the job services, provide the toiletries and the clothing after the clean shower. So kind of that whole community goal that we're all aiming for. So thank you.
All right, thank you for what you do. Okay, our next partner, the screen just says iPhone. I'm not sure. Just says iPhone.
That might be me, Cindy
That's you.
Taylor.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
I'm Cindy from Serenity Behavioral Health Systems in Augusta. We're a community service board, a CSB, and we're one of 26 CSBs across the state. Basically, we're the entry point into mental health and developmental disability services for adults and children in Georgia. And we're also the safety net. If somebody's uninsured, they can come to Serenity and we can provide services to them. And we have a big range of services that we provide. But we have one department. We have a PATH program, and I believe Shirley Bowman might be on this call. And if she is, I'm sure she can tell you more when she introduces herself. But the PATH program, that's an acronym for Projects for Assistance in Transition from Homelessness. And these folks, they work with, the homeless population. And I could email out the description of all the services that they provide. and I can give you their philosophy. It says the philosophy of the PATH program is that all individuals have the capacity to learn and grow, and individuals with serious and persistent mental illness and co-occurring disorders can and do recover. But they identify and engage the chronic homeless population, identify and access safe and appropriate housing, enroll in entitlement benefits. And they link individuals to mainstream services and resources, just to name a few things they do. But we also here at Serenity, we provide a range of mental health services, counseling, individual counseling, group counseling, family counseling. We have psychiatric services, nursing. We have a community support team. We have case managers. We have peer services. We have developmental disability services. And right now, I'm currently the program manager for a medication-assisted treatment program that we just started in January. And so we are providing medication-assisted treatment to people who are addicted to opiates. And so if they're uninsured and they have an opioid use disorder, they probably meet the criteria for this program. And we cover their medications as long as they're coming to counseling and case management, getting all their services, and and seeing the doctor regularly. Then their medications are covered. That's a little bit about us. But I think this is great. I appreciate you guys asking us to be on this. I think it's great what I've heard so far, what you guys have already done and what you're planning to do. A very good thing. So Serenity is, on board with helping you guys any way we can.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And you said Ms. Bowman is also a part of your organization. Ms. Bowman,
I saw her name, yes.
would you
Yes,
like to present?
I am.
Go right ahead.
Okay. My name is Shirley Bowman. I'm the PATH team lead for Serenity Behavior Health. And we look at, we try to treat the whole person, beginning with the mental health issue. And we try to connect the homeless to services. In fact, we actually did 4 this morning. So we hope we are going to be successful. We are using our partners like the Salvation Army. We go to food kitchens. We use the hospitals. We get people from different areas, and if they're homeless, we first try to connect them to mental health services, and then we treat. We go from there. We want to get them affordable housing. If they are just at risk for losing houses, we can. We have a grant through SAPSHA that we can help with trying to keep them in their home. We do a one-time security deposit, and we do a one-time rent if they're going to lose the home. So we also kind of, just step in to try to be a savior for them. And once they are connected to service, we also have a job component to it. We have supported employment that we do here. And so once they're connected, they're found to have gotten a place to live. If some may need disability, we do the disabilities. We will do connections for disability services. But our supported employment program, they will get a case manager and they will help them in every aspect of finding a job. And usually we have been the ones who actually are able to work. We have been very successful. I was listening to the ladies who do the showers, and I will be back in touch with them. We need that very much. And again, I thank you for having us on today.
Thank you, Ms. Bowman, for sharing. All righty, let's move on. We have some great partners from the Housing and Community Development Department. They are doing so much in the Augusta community to transform lives, and it's important to have them on. So we have 4 individuals representing. Mr. Hawthorne Welcher Jr., the Director of Housing and Community Development, Nishantia Lewis, Deputy Director. We also have on Daniel Evans and Ms. Barbara Gordon, who's also the secretary for this task force. And she's a whole, she just said, no, I'm not. She's also a great advocate. So I'm going to pass over to our housing team.
Mr. Commissioner, this is Hawthorne. Of course, I am on the way back from a meeting. So Daniel Evans is present and visible, and he will be sort of rendering HCD's comments, followed by Ms. Gordon as a CAC member as well.
Sounds good. Thank you. So Mr. Evans.
Sure. Thank you, Ms. Welcher. Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. I appreciate this opportunity to speak with you all. Work with many in this meeting here today. As a member of Housing and Community Development, we serve as the city's arm for dispersing funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and specifically germane to this conversation, the Emergency Solutions Grant, which provides funding to both homeless shelter projects, as well as our rental assistance programs that help folks either prevent or end episodes of homelessness by helping them achieve stable housing. As a representative of the department in the city of Augusta with our local continuum of care, I've had the pleasure of serving on that leadership team for the last 7 years, as well as being the, I guess, front person, if you will, for our annual homeless point in time count that we use as our measuring tool every year to try to better understand the size and the nature of the issue of unsheltered homelessness specifically in our community. So I just want to thank everyone for this opportunity. I've been very happy to work with Chief Clayton the last couple of years in the meetings he's organized. And I'll just throw out there as context, the federal government puts out a strategic plan to address homelessness with every new administration. And while I'm not here to endorse the previous administration's plan, I think this meeting is reflective of the ideology reflected there in the whole of government approach. For those of us that are, for our citizens and neighbors that are most vulnerable, sometimes you have to take a very robust, round, and inclusive approach to addressing those needs. So I think that this environment is a perfect example of Augusta trying to make that effort. So I just want to commend Commissioner Williams and Commissioner Johnson for bringing this audience together today.
Thank you, Devin. I'm sorry, Daniel. Ms. Lewis, do you have any comments you want to add to the conversation?
Good evening, good afternoon. Thank you so much to Commissioner Williams and Commissioner Jordan for bringing this matter up to a point. I'd like to also thank Chief Clayton for his involvement within the process. And I ditto everything that Manager Evans stated. I truly believe that with a true strategy and well thought out process that we can address this issue and know that this is not an overnight process or anything that we can just plug and fill and keep going. And thank you so much for including us. And that is it, sir.
All righty, Ms. Gordon. Yes, unmute your, yes, ma'am, you're muted.
Unmuted. I'm okay now. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I am Barbara Gordon. I am a member of the Citizens Advisory Committee for Housing and Economic Development. And the housing problem has been a grave concern of mine for a very long time, as any member of housing can tell you. I've heard what each and every one of you had to say, but I think there's a key component that needs to be addressed. And that's the myths, the misconceptions, and the misinformation about this particular population. The face of homelessness has changed tremendously. We're not talking about a group of alcoholics, a group of addicts, or able-bodied men. We're talking about women and children and older people and sick people and people in wheelchairs, people, getting around on one leg and what have you. And I don't think we can properly serve this population until we properly assess this population. I think most of you will agree that the perception of the homeless isn't always the nicest perception that we have of this set of people. And we need to put a human face, a very human face. We have all of these different organizations that have presented themselves And I'm sure you all are doing good work. But then at this juncture, we still have a major problem with homelessness. So there are a lot of things to be done. I applaud each and every one of you for what you've done in the past. But it is my hope and my prayer that the effort now will be a concerted effort to do what needs to be done, and not just lip service to something that we've been dealing with for a very long time. So I welcome being a part of this committee. I look forward to working with this committee, but I'm one of those folks, I push and I push hard. So I just want to say that, and thank you, Commissioner Johnson.
All right, thank you, Ms. Gordon. All righty, let's keep it going, y'all. We're doing good. All right, so let's acknowledge the CEO of the United Way of the CSRA, Ms. Brittany Burnett, and I also would love for her to share about the rental assistance program that's actually live right now. So, Ms. Burnett, you have the floor.
Great, thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. As mentioned, I'm Brittany Burnett, President and CEO of United Way of the CSRA. And as mentioned, we are working really hard and really fast right now on a program that we've been able to partner with the Housing and Community Development Office. And so we're so thankful for this partnership with them. Really what we are doing is, as many of you may have heard in the news, the city received $6 million from the U.S. Department of Treasury. And the point of that program is to provide rental and emergency rental and utilities assistance to residents of Richmond County who fall under a certain criteria, who've been hit by COVID in some way or another, increase in income, and lots of other variables that would make them qualify. So the program can provide up to 12 months in rental arrears, and for some cases, up to 3 months of rental services in the future. In addition, it will provide utilities assistance and support. And so knowing all of that, there has been a high level of demand for this sort of support services. And so right now, last time I checked, we had just over 1,400 people who had some sort of interest in this program. Now we know some of those are duplicated, and as we work through those, that number might decrease a little, but we also know that there will be more people who will continue to apply each and every day. So on that front, our goal is to prevent homelessness and provide rental support to the residents of this county. But in addition to that, we have a 211 line, which is really the first community's call for help. And people call that phone number every single day. They need assistance with more than just rent and utilities, but they do need to know where is there safe and stable housing. And that's not just for Richmond County, but that actually has a much larger footprint for the area. They want to know where they can find affordable daycare, where there are high quality summer camps, where if they have an aging parent and they don't know what sort of facility they could take them to, and many, many other reasons that people call us every day. And so with COVID, as you can imagine, we have seen the face of the caller really evolve and change. And on top of that, we have our community that has such high need. So we are literally answering the phone every day to make sure that our residents are in touch with the resources they need. And we don't expect them to be the experts in this area, but knowing with partners that are here on this call and others, we know that we will prevent them from becoming homeless. And for those who are at even higher risk, how do we all work together to make sure they are stably housed and are getting the support services they need?
Thank you so much for that. And I think we all can applaud the work that's been done around the rental assistance program. Is helping thousands of people. So thank you for that. All right, so we're going to move on now to Mr. Douglas McClure. He is he's the fearless leader of the Salvation Army. So Mr. McClure, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Major McClure. I'm the Area Commander and Senior Croc Officer for the Salvation Army in the greater Augusta, Georgia area. We're responsible for Richmond County, Columbia County, Burke, and McDuffie now. So if you're ever in those areas, we're there. The Salvation Army is the largest homeless shelter in the CSRA. We provide shelter for men, women, what's called unaccompanied men and unaccompanied women. We also have family sheltering space, and we also have what's called prison reentry beds available for people who are leaving state institutions and need a place to go. That's all located at our Center of Hope on Green Street. We also provide 2 meals a day through our dining room, our breakfast and dinner. Served close to 80 or 90,000 meals last year through that program. We also do referrals to partner agencies. You've heard our name mentioned a couple of times by various areas that we try to work with people. We also provide partner space in our building for people to come and meet with some of our guests so they don't have to travel around and have that one-stop shopping experience where they can meet and talk with people. And so we have several agencies that come to our building and have a flex office space there. We also offer pastoral care through our pastoral care awareness team. We'll offer religious services as well as counseling through the Center of Hope. We also have some strong partnerships with HCD, United Way, several of the people on this call, Serenity. You name it, we'll work with you. We love everybody, and it's great to have you, except for Chief Clayton. I love that guy. He's just always good to see you smile, Chief. So we're great to have some great partnerships. We also offer utility and rental assistance year-round through our social services office. And then we have a job skills program. We graduate 4 cohorts a year through our job skills. You're welcome to watch the graduation. It'll be live streamed on social media tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And we put through 4 classes of people that receive between 6 to 8 major certifications and job readiness programs. And that's all free of charge. All of these services are free of charge from the Salvation Army. We are open 24 hours a day through different social services programs, but we offer 365 days a year. And this August, we'll be here for 130 years. I know I don't look it, but I can feel that way sometimes. Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Thank you for my moment of levity.
Thank you. As always, thank you for what you do. All right, we're going to move to Mr. Christopher Mullins. Christopher Mullins is the director and founder of the Freddie Mae Foundation. Mr. Mullins, the floor is yours.
Appreciate that, Commissioner Johnson, to the mayor, Commissioner Williams, and Commissioner Clark, and everybody in their respective places. I'm Christopher Mullins, the executive director and the founder of the Freddie Mae Foundation. Just to spill the rumors, no, I'm not coming after you for your student loans or your housing. The name comes from my grandmother. She just turned 90 last month. Her name is Freddie Mae, and we named it after her. But we help men who've been abused, battered, and addicted to drugs and alcohol and their children. Just to give y'all a few numbers of our people whom we serve, we've served 144 people between January and February of just this year. And over 80% of those individuals are men. Hence why we work with men and their children. And what we're actually working on now, we had, it's called a program called Reclaiming My Manhood. And we actually just had one young gentleman who we helped. We put him through financial literacy, worked on helping him get a job. He's employed now, and now he's actually housed with the Freddie Mae Foundation, and we helped him get some housing. So it shows that our program is working just with this one individual. We actually are working on getting our house up so that we can make this effort work on a larger scale. Because we realize that this program is needed. We noticed that a lot of people who are on the street are men, and we need to dedicate a lot of our efforts to our men to get men back in society to help eradicate homelessness, illiteracy, going in and out of jail, just stop these cyclical things that are going on right now. That's what the Freddie Mae Foundation is doing. And again, we're working on getting our house up and running. We were donated some property last year. And so we're working on, again, getting our house up and running so that we can instill this program on a larger scale. And again, I want to thank you, Commissioner Johnson, for allowing me to be a part of this call. Thank you.
Thank you, Christopher. We will acknowledge Ms. Zena McLean-Heyman.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Zena McLean-Heyman. I am a senior staff attorney, public safety with Augusta Law Department, and I'm here on behalf of legal. So it's a pleasure meeting you all today.
All right, thank you so much for being with us. We're gonna need you. All right, let's acknowledge Ms. Mary Harrison.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mary Harrison, and I'm representing CSRA EOA. Where we are in the area of the homeless spaces, we currently operate the coordinated entry for Augusta Richmond County, where we connect homeless persons and persons who are at risk of homelessness to available resources in the community. In addition, we also operate a permanent supportive housing program for homeless individuals with disabilities. Those units are located at the Maxwell House, in addition to 7 units that we own down there on Sibley Street. We also are the grantee for the Supportive Services for Veteran Families grant through the CSR, throughout the CSRA. So we do provide homeless prevention and rapid rehousing services for homeless veterans and their families. So we are glad to be a part of the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm looking at my screen to make sure I didn't miss anyone. I do want to acknowledge my colleagues that are on the line, Commissioner Ben Hassan, Commissioner John Clark. We also have the Administrator's Office online with us today, Tony McDonald, Mr. Jarvis Sims, and I saw our City Administrator, Odie Donald, on, so thank you all for joining. Did I miss anyone for an introduction?
Commissioner Johnson, I forgot to say that my Vice President, Ms. Arnitra Grubbs, is on. And
Okay.
I would like for herself to introduce, herself, of course. And I apologize, Ms. Arnitra, for that.
Sure, go right ahead, Ms. Grubbs, you're recognized.
Thank you. I just wanted to just tell you how appreciative we are for this task force coming about and helping us to be able to live out our vision and our call. And we're very interested in working with everyone that is involved. And I know that this is going to be a great partnership and a great opportunity for us to help the homeless in the CSRA. So thank you again for the invitation.
Thank you so much. Did we omit anyone? All righty, well, hearing none, I think that what we can all agree on is that we have a really good group of people on the line who really care about homelessness in Richmond County. And that's the point of the task force, is to bring together professionals who have worked in this field to be successful in what they do, bring them together, and let's work together on a plan that can determine short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. And so with that being said, we will, in the next couple of days, we're going to be emailing out some information as far as homework assignments go. So there's going to be homework attached to this task force. We want to make sure that we establish working groups. Commissioner Williams and I will be sending this information out within the next couple of days. Working groups that would address a few things, one being housing, the others being workforce development. Commissioner Williams mentioned getting access to mailboxes and places to store material for our homeless brothers and sisters. All of these things will come out of homework assignments, so to say, that we will come back together at our next meeting to start unpacking and discussing. Again, making sure that we have a plan in place, a brainstorm in place for short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals, developing goals and objectives, things of that nature. But that's going to come in the form of an email. And I want to make sure that everyone checks their email, because you're going to get some assignments. And when we come back together at our next meeting, we're going to discuss these things and go ahead and start putting together a comprehensive plan as to how we can centralize services, how we can provide additional resource, and just get some additional information. Okay, so are there any questions, Commissioner Williams, any member of the task force?
Commissioner Johnson, may I just make a comment really quickly, please?
Yes, sir.
I just want to let everybody who doesn't know that Mr. Willie Walker was one of my clients, and he was found frozen to death in December. And bringing this to light, I just want to really thank you, Commissioner Johnson, for taking this and running with it, because you were the one that really took it and ran with it. And I appreciate you. I appreciate the rest of the commission for joining on with this. And I also appreciate the mayor for really just saying, hey, we need to really figure out what's going on with our homeless population, because it's bothersome just to think that how many other people could have been found frozen to death, or who else could have died on the street through heat exhaustion, or whatever it may have been. So I just want to say again, Commissioner Johnson, my hat goes off to you, and I thank you for, your efforts in doing everything.
I'm going to say, Chris, thank you for bringing up to our attention the situation that happened with Mr. Walker. And unfortunately, he passed away to hypothermia, but the Augusta Commission recognized the issue that we had on our hand, and the Augusta Commission formed this task force. It was not an effort solely done by myself, but certainly the Augusta Commission saw necessary to have this type of setting. And so thanks goes to the Augusta Commission for caring enough to act on something so important. And I want us to, again, understand that out of the conversation came a women's center that we worked on. And we served plenty Augustans and gave them a safe place to go when it was cold out, when we had inclement weather. So it speaks to what can happen when we come together with the same mind and have the same goals at heart. And so that's what makes me so excited about this task force, is that everyone has their own expertise. And we're going to bring all those expertise together to help our women and children, help our men, and again, to make homelessness rare in the city of Augusta and very temporary. And so again, thank you to everyone who's on board. My hat goes off to you. And to Commissioner Williams, again, thank you. What we want to do is, if there are any specific topics that you all want to have us focus on as a working group, I think that it would be in order if you shot those ideas to us via email, or if you shot them in our chat section here, so that we can then go and form a few working groups. We like to keep our meetings down to an hour. I know that's kind of weird coming from a commissioner saying, but we want to keep our calls down to an hour because everyone have different things to do. And we want to respect each other's time. So again, some of the priorities that we have discussed today have been housing, have been wraparound services, have been this idea of a one-stop shop for homeless citizens to be able to come and receive resources. We've also talked about identifying funding sources, community engagement, making sure that our homeless have a place to store their material, and also making sure that they have mailboxes to receive benefit checks and other things of that nature. These are the types of ideas that we want you to shoot recommendations as far as what we should be focusing on. Commissioner Williams stated earlier that we have to make sure that there's an actual need for additional beds in Augusta. That is certainly something that we should be having a conversation about. So once you get the email of like a recap for this meeting, that email will also have next steps as far as, some of the things that I just mentioned. That's when we will begin to form our working groups with these ideas. Once you see the groups that will be available based off of your recommendation and based off of what Commissioner Williams and I will put together, if there's a specific group or a specific topic that you want to focus on, please let us know so that we can allocate that group over to you for collaboration. But at any rate, I would like to again open the floor if there are any other items for discussion for the task force. I think this was a really good first meeting where we were able to introduce ourselves and get a scope of what our mission and purpose will be. So are there any other comments on the floor at this time? All righty, Commissioner Williams, are there any other items that you'd like to discuss, or any remarks you'd like to give?
No,
Captain, you're muted.
just want to wish everyone a great afternoon and be safe. Till next time.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I also like to correct something that I said on the line earlier. As Ms. Gordon was coming, I asked her to be the secretary, but she's only the secretary for this meeting. She's not the secretary in general. She's only the secretary for this meeting. So I want to make sure that I correct that for the record, that Ms. Gordon is the secretary for today. All right. So if anyone wants to serve as the permanent secretary, Paul McCartney had a song called Temporary Secretary. If you want to be the permanent secretary, let us know and we will make that adjustment. But at any rate, thank you for introducing yourselves. Thank you for giving us a scope of what you do. Please check your email accounts for next steps for meeting calendars, so forth and so on. But let's continue to keep our hearts and minds focused on those who need us the most. There are thousands of men and women and children who are literally waiting for us to show up in a big way. And this is it is very encouraging to see so many people who care about this issue in one place. And we can be the committee, along with what the sheriff's office is doing and everyone else. We can be the folks to solve this issue. So let's keep that in mind and let's go deliver for Augusta. All right. So if there are no other comments or concerns, we will adjourn this meeting for the day. So thank you for joining today, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.